Arsenal are looking to bring in Ivory Coast centre-back Ousmane Diomande in the January transfer window. Yes, people, why football here? Welcome back to another Arsenal transfer news video, the first of 2024. I appreciate everyone that's tuned in. As always, if you want to keep up to date with daily Arsenal transfer news videos throughout this January transfer window, this is the place. Make sure you just do subscribe down below on my road to 6,000 subscribers. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below regarding Ousmane Diomande's potential move to Arsenal. Let's get straight into the story brought today by Football Insider on Twitter, and it states this: exclusive, Arsenal in contact with Ousmane Diomande's family as they set up a deal, and the source is Sports PO. Now I've seen this floating about X/Twitter and Instagram for the last couple hours, to be fair, in particular, and it's something that's starting to heat up. Now, we know going into this January transfer window that Arsenal are targeting defenders and midfielders and a striker as well. Whether we're able to get all three, it's your guess is better than mine, to be honest, because FFP restrictions mean that Arsenal are, of course, do have to sell before we can buy this January, which in my eyes, to be fair, is actually catastrophic how we've reached that stage. I mean, this is a club, Arsenal, right, that is one of the biggest clubs in England, top 10 biggest club in the world, and we're skirting around FFP because we've made some bogus signings over the past few seasons. I mean, for example, you only have to look back to last summer and the summer before that, man. You're looking at players like Kivior got bought in. Apparently, we want to sell Kivior now. What was the point of buying him? Fabio Vieira, talk about him, 40 million. Has he been worth the money? Kai Havertz has been okay in recent weeks, but was he really worth 65 million? So, poor signings have led down to now a path where we've got FFP restrictions and we're not able to sign the players we potentially want to sign unless we sell first. Now, I'm a massive fan of Ousmane Diomande, and Arsenal have been on his radar for a while now. He's born in 2003, plays for Sporting Lisbon, a centre-back that's good with the ball at his feet. He, of course, will be going to AFCON with Ivory Coast, I do believe, so he will be missing for that month. But what he brings us is depth at centre-back, because I've said this before, guys. Now, Saliba and Gabriel are two brilliant centre-backs, but we need a real understudy to them. Now, they're young in their own right, but we need someone that can fill in the gaps and it not be a massive drop-off in quality. Because underneath Saliba and Gabriel is Kivior. That's the only other centre-back in our club. Otherwise, Ben White has to play centre-back. Tommy has to play centre-back. Timber has to play centre-back. Do you get what I mean? No one else is a registered proper centre-back for us. And that doesn't even talk about our fullback positions, where if Ben White's injured, it's Tomiyasu or Cedric. If Zinchenko's injured, which it is right now, it's Timber who's injured right now, and then no one, Tomiyasu basically. So Arsenal are really thin in defensive positions in my eyes, and it casts us back to last season, where we had those injuries towards the end of the year, and our season completely capitulated because of that. Arsenal were firing. Suddenly Saliba got injured for the whole season, and Rob Holding was forced into the back line, and lo and behold, we don't end up winning the Premier League title. Arsenal this close to that happening again this season. If Saliba goes down injured, our season could be off the rails, genuinely, guys. So we do need to sign a centre-back, I believe, this January. Now, I'm a big fan of Diomande, as I just said, and I think he's a good player we can bring in. And the fact we've contacted his family is a good sign, because how it works in football is, it's not like career mode or Football Manager or anything like that, where you go to the club first. It's not like that. In real life, you go to the player and the player's side first, especially a young player that's born in 2003, right? Barely 20 years old. So you want to talk to him first and talk to his family and say, look, we want to bring him in. Does he like the fit? Is he able to move to London at this young age? Will we be able to move with him? Get on the player's side and make sure the player's happy with the move and potentially would want to come to Arsenal. Then, when the player wants to move to Arsenal, it's easier to then talk to the club, because then you can go to the club with leverage and say, look, we want to bring in Ousmane Diomande. We've spoken to him. He's keen on the move. The player from his side can push the move as well. So it end up happening two forces on both sides. The club and the player pushing to make the deal happen. So I think Arsenal made the right steps progressing with this Ousmane Diomande deal. Obviously, it's still early. It's the 1st of January. The transfer window literally opened today, so there's plenty of time to get these deals over the line. But with Arsenal, deals need to happen. We can't make the same mistake we've been making in previous January transfer windows where we don't fix enough positions. If you ask me, I've said this before, I think Arsenal need 4 players this January. I genuinely believe so. We need a striker. That's glaring for me, man. We need someone that can put the ball in the back of net. A striker that can save us points this season by scoring in key moments. Look at the game against Fulham, man. We need a striker that can get those goals. Game against West Ham as well. Ivan Toney is potentially available. We shouldn't look to make that happen in my eyes. Other position, I think we need a centre mid as well. I really think we need one. Now, Thomas Partey's been out this whole season. He's not going AFCON, which is actually positive news for us, I think, because it means that when he's back, he can play in the team. But even Thomas Partey, he's rarely fit. The best sort of ability is availability, right? And this brother's never available. When he's in the team, he's superb. I think he's one of the best defensive midfielders in Europe. And we're still yet to see a Partey, Rice, Ødegaard, midfield three, which I've been yearning to see this whole season. And when that happens, maybe Arsenal turn into the next best thing. But until then, we need a centre midfielder. Zubimendi, Douglas Luiz have been talked about. But those are real high ticket players. And I think we should wait for that in the summer in my eyes. And then you're looking at, for me, a backup fullback and a backup centre-back. So for me, a striker, a centre-mid and a backup fullback and centre-back in my eyes. And if Diomande can be that backup centre-back, I'm more than happy with that in my eyes. More than happy. But hopefully Arsenal can look to make progress in multiple fronts. I've also heard reports that Eddie Nketiah is attracting interest from multiple clubs around the Premier League. And apparently Arsenal have rejected inquiries, which really baffles me, to be honest. Like, I know Nketiah obviously right now is Arsenal's second choice striker because we haven't got anyone else in the door other than Jesus. But is Eddie Nketiah going to help us win a league title? No. He hasn't scored an away Premier League goal in the whole of 2023. Let me say that again. He has not scored an away Premier League goal in the whole of 2023. His last away goal for Arsenal in the Premier League was December the 31st, 2022 in my eyes. So I'm looking at that point and thinking, if your striker ain't scoring away goals in the Premier League, you've got a big problem on your hands. I'm sorry, Haaland's scored, what, 20 goals away from home last calendar year? Let's be completely honest about it right now, guys. I'm not expecting Eddie Nketiah to be Erling Haaland level, but not scoring a single away goal in the Premier League last year, that's a worry in my eyes. That's a real big worry. So Arsenal need to improve that striking position. I'm a big fan of Gabriel Jesus, but I genuinely think Jesus is a better winger than he is attacker. Another point you can look at is this, right? Bobby Firmino at Liverpool those years back wasn't necessarily the best goal-scoring striker. He was very much a link-up player, like Gabriel Jesus is. In my eyes, I actually think Jesus is a better link-up player than Bobby Firmino. But what Bobby Firmino had around him was two assassins in Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah that more than kept up with the goal record for Liverpool. Now, Gabriel Jesus, you could say, is not the problem being the striker. The problem is the players around him. Is Saka, is Martinelli bringing in the goals necessary for Jesus to not be highlighted? Because make no mistake about it, if Martinelli and Saka were getting 20 goals a season, Jesus would be getting all the plaudits in the world for being one of the best link-up strikers in world football. But because the wingers aren't getting enough goals, we're looking at the striker saying the striker ain't getting enough goals. When sometimes Jesus is doing the best as what he can do in his position. But it's the wingers not picking up the slack. So there's two ways to look at it in my eyes. I think Arsenal, at the end of the day, right, whether it's a left winger, right winger or striker, Arsenal need a goal scorer. I don't care how you dress it up. We need a player that can consistently get us 20 goals a season. And the easiest position for that to happen is the striker. Because the striker's task is getting goals. So in my eyes, Ivan Toney's potentially available. We should look to get him. Of course, I'll be keeping you guys up to date with transfer window throughout this January with Arsenal news as well as other football clubs news as well. So the only thing I ask is to make sure you subscribe down below on my road to 6,000 subscribers if you'd love to keep up to date with all transfer news regarding Arsenal and other football clubs. I've been Wi-Fi. I appreciate everyone that tuned in today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below as well regarding Ousmane Diomande, but not just him. Any other players you want Arsenal to sign this January transfer window? What positions do you want to see Arsenal sign the most? Me personally, I'm looking at that striker position. I think it's absolutely glaring we need a striker up front. But it's not just that, we need other positions as well. Because I hate to say it, guys, I don't want to write it in the script or manifest it. But we get an injury to Saliba or Gabriel and our season could seriously derail. I've been Wi-Fi, but I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I hope to catch you guys all in my next one. Take care.